Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Yesterday at World Economic Forum, Chinese President Xi talked of the issues that are very germane to the global situation. And he was, while talking and commenting and responding to the questions, was very clear that China aims to lead the world, lead the world. But when the discussion took place, it ranged from all space war, cyber war, exploration, pandemics, biological war. But the most concerning issue was that how China, which says that it leads the world and aims to be a leader for a long time to come, manipulated at getting labeled as a developing country by WTO. A country that is racing headlong for a global leadership manipulates WTO and doesn't hesitate being called a developing country. As a matter of fact, China's status as a developing country, the World Trade Organization, has become, as was evident yesterday, a matter of concern, not only to the economists, not only the theorists, but also to the politicians, and especially in the countries where the upper middle class nations deriving benefits reserved for developing countries under WTO norms. Now this was exactly like we have seen in India and Pakistan the political leaders posing to belong to the lowest strata. You might have seen the political leaders going and sitting on the bare cots, eating the food with the deprived, especially with the Dalits, the depressed classes, to show their sense of association, empathy, and identity with those people so that they can get their votes here. The same thing is happening. China is aiming at getting all the benefits. So, while it gets a benefit as a developed country, as a leader of the world, it is also trying to establish a level of communication with the poor people all over the world. The concerns have been raised over the least developed status, with Bangladesh potentially losing this tag after surpassing India in terms of GDP per capita. Now imagine a country like Bangladesh, which was the least developed country, has a higher GDP in 1 year than India and is no longer a least developed country. And a country which is economically today next to USA is a developing country. Now why did China manipulate WTO to get the benefits of a developing country? There are certain tags. Now there are two levels. One is the economic base, the second is the political base. Politically, as I told you, China seeks to identify with the developing countries and tell them, look here, I'm like you are and I can help you develop the way I'm developing. He said developing, not developed. And those are less developed. Now, the global economic benefits are also there. There are certain WTO agreements which give developing countries special rights through preferential special and differential treatment. Special, differential benefits. It's exactly like what happens in India, where the reservations are there for the depressed classes. They are more in number. There is a differential treatment. So I have seen the upper class people also try to get the label of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. You might have seen the huge agitations going on. Marathas wanted to be scheduled castes. Jats wanted to be scheduled castes. The highest level of the communities which are earning very well. The farming community of Haryana, Jats, are one of the most economically advanced communities, but they want to be labeled as scheduled caste so that they can get the preferential and differential benefits. So this is S&D provision, special and differential treatment. So WTO says that the countries which are developing are entitled to that. So China says, okay, why should I not have that benefit? So it manipulates WTO. And these rights, S&DT, are given to the developing countries. They have a longer time frame to implement the agreements, and even commitments to raise trading opportunities for such countries. So while you are expanding, what harm is there if you get the preferential treatment? For example, in climate change, those people are getting money from the developed countries so that they can establish cleaner energy projects and things like that. So if something comes to you without any strings tied, it's a bonanza, it's a manna from heaven. So Chinese are very pragmatic people. So if manna from heaven comes to them on their march towards the world leadership, why say no? Now all WTO pacts, World Trade Organization pacts, are often aimed at reduction in government support to certain industries over time. And secondly, the purpose is that they set up more lenient targets for developing nations, grant them more time to achieve the targets compared to the developed countries. As I told you, in the Paris Agreement it was also said that there are different levels of the reduction of greenhouse gases for the developed countries and for the developing countries. So economic benefits, social benefits, political benefits. Secondly, the classification also allows other countries to offer preferential treatment. So how is the developing country decided? And why are some people, myself included, again China being classified as one? Till now, this is just a exercise on paper. WTO has not defined either the developed countries or the developing countries till now. And the result, many countries are free to announce that they are developing or developed. Now some countries say they are developed. They want to impress their own people and the people in their sphere of influence. India, before it was fully developed, and even today, it says it's a developing country, and before it said, well, we are developed, and Manmohan Singh refused to accept the foreign aid. That was a purely to impress the electorate at home. Look here, under the master economist, the economy is better to extent that we don't need a foreign aid. Fine. That went very well with the domestic market. So since there is no definition of a developed and developing country by WTO, otherwise we know what is a developed country and what's a developing country. But since there is no official definition by WTO, WTO is by a majority of votes. The board decides, well, China is a developing country. And China, we have seen how it has manipulated all organizations. Look at its performance in the Human Rights Commission. Till today, UN Human Rights Commission has not condemned China for its Ugyar statement. Look at WHO. How WHO failed miserably to term China as a defaulter and a promoter of coronavirus. Rather, it protected China and did not conduct any inquiry. So, reality, look at the rise in China's per capita income to become an upper middle income group country according to the World Bank, and the country's alleged use of unfair trade practices. Definitely, World Bank has shown that China is using unfair trade practices such as preferential treatment for state enterprises, data restrictions, and inadequate enforcement of intellectual property rights. They can copy anything, anywhere, and there is no punishment. This inadequate enforcement of IPRs naturally raises concerns, and that's why China technology today in some areas, in some sectors, even beats USA. And yet US is a developed country and China is a developing country. So number of nations have called on China to either refrain from seeking special benefits available in the developing countries or forego its qualification as a developing country altogether. Even yesterday there were at least 7 of us who said and asked President Xi, why you label yourself as a developing country? Why don't you object to it? What about your self-respect? What about your prestige? And the reply was zero. No, absolutely ignored. Ultimately, one of the associates, the juniors, said, well, this is our internal affair. Now, one way for China to show the leadership, global leadership, would be to refrain from claiming benefits that would correspond to a developing country in ongoing negotiations. European Union in October 2021 very clearly said they reviewed China's trade policy, and at the same time US State Trade Representative also released a similar statement. So EU and US Trade Representative have identical views. They say no. China should show leadership, honesty, integrity, and commitment to the reality and admit that it is not a developing country. You see, basically China is hunting with the hounds and running with the hare. It wants to have the cake and eat it also, and that's not done. That's not acceptable. Australia also recommended that China should relinquish, and I quote, its access to special and differential treatment. Now look at it. China's per capita income in 2020 was $10,435, while that of India, according to the World Bank, was 1,928. So 10,435 for China, 1,928 for India. So Chinese income was basically 5 times, approximately a bit more than 5 times, more than that of India, and yet China is a developing country. Now what has been the response of China? And what would be the impact if China loses this label of being the least as other developing country. As I said, China is a spinnex. They don't respond. Either they ignore the questions or they sidestep it. And China economically has always consistently maintained now, they say, well, we are the growing economy. We are developed according to some, but we are the world's largest developing economy, and some of our regions are least developed. There are regions in India, deserts, arid zones, mountains, which are least developed. There are regions in Canada where nobody lives, which are not developed at all. That always happens. But when you talk of a country, you take the average of the country altogether. So, to call it the largest developing economy on one side and the least developed regions is contradictory. However, it indicated yesterday that it is willing to forego many benefits of being a developing country. The Chinese ambassador Li Chonggang yesterday reported that the country may forego some of the exemptions, not all the exemptions. They say they will choose which exemption they should forego voluntarily. So they continue to be a developing country, they will continue to have the label, but some exemptions they will forego. For example, they say, well, we will cut the fishing subsidies to curb off overfishing. A change in the status of China to a developed country would result in future agreement negotiations. Not today, but in future, whenever the agreements are there, the other country will say, well, why should you get this treatment? And in fact, China has, like the developed countries, reduced its tariff to a significant level. Now, what are the benefits of the benefit? The benefits, as I said earlier, are preferential treatments. And WTO recognizes that a classification by the UN is based on a criteria that is reviewed every 3 years. As a matter of fact, it's up to UNO now and to WTO, of course, to review the criteria that when a country crosses a certain limit of GDP, a per capita income, it should be very clearly said, look here, you are no longer a developing country, a least developed country. If Bangladesh could lose that appellation, why not China? Now, Bangladesh was classified till recently as lowest developed country. It was receiving zero duty, zero quota, access to all exports, and therefore it has lost now. But what about China? It continues to enjoy the benefits. So WTO's action is a farce. It's a joke. It is in fact a manipulative action to ensure that China continues to have all the benefits of a developing country while claiming to be the leader of the world. And that's not done. That's not acceptable. It's time that UNO, that WTO, and the world community at large says, have some integrity, have some sense of honesty and clarity of thought. Let there be no ambiguity between the thought and the action. Thank you.